Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm recreating a stunning opening animation inspired by the Huawei recent trifold ad. It features some sleek lighting effects done in the sequence, creating a really satisfying visual. I'll show you a step by step how I did it in Blender using geometry nodes. And don't worry, we're keeping it beginner friendly. Let's dive right in. We're going to be starting with the default cube. I'm just going to come to my front view here, press tab to go to our edit mode, press G, Z, and I'm going to hold down control. I just want to move this above the origin point right here. The reason is because we'll be scaling our room, and if you bring your sidebar here and you come to your item, you can see that this room is about 2 meters in terms of the height. So I want something like 2.7 or let's say 3 meters for the height. I just want to scale it on the Y and X axis only. So I'm just going to press S, then I'm going to press Shift Z, and then I'm just going to scale it. You can scale it as long as you want, honestly. I'm going to tap back into edit mode again, make sure that your vertex mode is enabled. I'm just going to click and drag over this area. So we have this selected. Then the next thing I want you to do is press S Shift Z to make sure you are doing it like this, and I just want to bring it in close like so. I'm going to duplicate this face right here, so I'm just going to press 3 to go to face select mode, and I'm going to press Shift D, then I'm going to press P selection, so it's going to be its own separate material. I'm going to select the room first, and I'm going to rename this by pressing F2 to rename it let's say room. The other part we duplicated, which is this one right here, I'm going to rename it as light. So this will be for the lights that we'll be using. Okay, like that. Alt Z to come back to your solid view. So you just want to come to your geometry nodes here. I think we can hide the room because we don't need it. I'm going to give this a new set of geometry nodes. Press Shift A, type in mesh line, bring the mesh output here and connect it to the geometry output. Shift A, and you just want to add an instance on point. Make sure that your node wrangler is enabled. In case it's not enabled, just come to your edit, preferences, under your add-ons, just type in node wrangler. So make sure this is enabled. It will help you for the geometry nodes and the shading, as you discover as you proceed. Add an instance on point. For the instance, I'm just going to use a cube. If I bring back the room, you can see that this is obviously way too big than the room. You can reduce the scale, or the size rather. So for the offset, you're going to reduce it as well. So you want to bring it down also about this area, so you can see it here. So we want to move it as well, but if you just press G, Y, so we can bring it somewhere around here. So we have it at the back of the room, which is what we want. And I'm just going to press SY again to just scale it in like so. And I'm going to press GY again to bring it to the back. Now we have some issues, but we'll correct them, don't worry. Alright, so for us to be able to see the inside, I'm just going to select the room and still in my face mode. I'm going to delete this face right here, and I'm going to delete the top face as well. So this is what we have. Because we changed the offset, we kind of have intersecting geometry. So what we're going to do is we're going to reduce the offset. Then another problem you observe is that the start point of the origin is here. So for our start location, we're going to move it up on the Z towards the room like so. And then for the scale, it's set to negative, so let's correct that and make it positive again. So we'll just want to reduce it a bit like this, and then let's correct the offset again. So make sure they are spacious like so, which is nice. And then for the size, let's reduce the size as well. So this is what we have for the size. Using size, we have this. Then let's increase the offset again. So we have this again, and let's reduce the size on the Z again. You can just on the Z alone. So reducing, this is what we have again. You just have to play around with the offset value. Maybe I'm just going to adjust it a little bit more. So I'm going to reduce it again. Then we're just going to just add in do we need to I'm just going to press GZ to move it up on the Z axis like so, and I'm going to increase the offset again, and then for the size, maybe something like this will do. Alright, so this is perfect for the light. So we have it basically set to this. I'm just going to increase it on the X as well. To create the light effect, we're going to play with the count. So if we start from 1, and then we'll just go to 2, 3, 4, you can see that it's already giving us that effect, which is basically how the animation was done. Alright, so if I come to my timeline here. For the end frame, we just want it to be a 2 seconds animation. Then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drag this up like so. Just press home right here, come to this one right here. I'm just going to press 0. So we want it on frame 0 to be set to a count of 0. Now mind you, you have to set it manually, because if you just reduce the count, you can see that it's not going to exceed 1, so you have to type in 0. Then you're going to press I to insert a keyframe on frame 0. Then when you want your the light flickering effect to stop, so I feel like about frame 35, or let's say like 29 or 30, I want the animation to stop for the flickering effect. So I'm just going to type in number of counts that you want here. So I'm going to type in 10, and then I'm going to press I to insert the keyframe. So if you play this now, so you can just see there the flickering effect and it's just coming through. I'm going to change this to the 3D viewport so we can see. And about this point here, I think we can add in a camera. Press Control Alt number pad 0 to bring my camera to this point right here. I'm just going to press GZ for us to see what we're doing. Then I'm going to come to viewport display, and I'm going to turn the passepartout to 0. So this is what we have here. So now I think we can go to our render engine. You can use Eevee actually. You can enable ray tracing to kind of give like that cycles effect, and then we can come here. We can see this light right here in our scene, so we're going to be deleting it. We don't need it. Then for now, I'm going to just bring the world color to white so that we can see what we're doing. We're still going to use an all black setup. So this right here, we're going to be giving it material. So the first thing I want you to do is come right here in between the instance on point and group output. Just press Shift A and add in a set material node. Then I'm going to create a new material for this, and I think because of the ray tracing I enabled, it's a little bit too intensive on my CPU, so I'm just going to change this render engine back, change it to cycles. I'm going to give this a new material, and I'm going to name it light. And I'm just going to come out, then make sure that in your set material and geometry nodes here, light is enabled as well. I just want you to go to your shader editor right here. Under this light material, come to your emission. Then for your emission strength, we are going to use a strength of 3. One problem that you're going to encounter is that the light kind of looks uniform and everything looks the same. So what we're going to do is we're going to just add in a bit of some node setup to add some differentiation and make the light even more unique. I'm just going to come to my geometry node here and select the light again, and we're going to add in our first node. After the first setup, we're going to add in a stored name attribute node. So what we want to do is we want to store the attribute of the light so that we can add variations to it. Then I'm going to select these two right here, which is the stored name attribute and the set material, and I'm going to press Shift D. I'm going to connect this to the stored name attribute geometry right here, and I'm going to connect this to the group output. So we have the node setup basically like this, and in case you can't see properly, don't worry, at the end I'm going to give you a full screen view of my setup. So for the set material, we want it to be the light, which is here. Then what I want to do is for this stored name attribute here, I want to add in a random value node to my node setup. So just press Shift A and add a random value node. So we want a random value for the light. Add in a math node to this node right here for this value right here. So I'm going to add in a math. Then I want to change it from add to multiply. For your minimum value, I want it to be something in between 0 and 1. So I'm just going to use something like 0.5. Then for your max value, you can basically use any number from 1 upward. So I'm going to use 3 since we're going to be changing the emission strength of our lights to 3 later on, or maybe not so. So I'm just going to make it 3 to connect the value output of the random value here to the multiply right here. So we have this. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new name for this stored name attribute that we can add to the attribute node in our shader editor. So I'm just going to name it any random name. So I'm just going to say random lights or something. Then once you have done that, make sure you press Ctrl C to copy this, because you are going to be pasting it here also. So I'm just going to press Ctrl V. For this multiply node, I'm going to add in another node to it. We're going to add a compare node to this value output down here. So just add a compare node, and you want to set it to greater than, basically. So we have this right here. Then to this greater than, I want to add another node, which is the subtract. So I just want to subtract the scene time from the animation as well. So add the scene time here, add another multiply, another math node which is set to multiply. So math multiply, I'm just going to click add like so. Then finally we're going to be using an index node. This is the node setup that we're going to use to create the variation. Now if I drag this up and I play the animation, it's going to still look kind of the same, and that's because we have not changed it in our shader editor. So I'm just going to come to this window panel here. I'm going to change this to the shader editor. For the strength, I am just going to press shift A and add an attribute node. So input attribute, and then you want to connect the fact value of this to the strength. Under this name here, just press Ctrl V and paste the random lights and just click like that. So by the time you do that, what you're going to observe is already you can see these light dark variations here. And yeah, so that was pretty much how it was done. Now what you can do is probably just play around with some values. So you can just go back to your geometry nodes editor and you can play around with it as much as possible. So if I select this right now and I play, where did this come from? So let me delete this. Like, we created the keyframe. I'm going to go back to EV. Let's see if it will work this time around, so that you can see these variations I'm talking about. I want the light to sort of be full by the time we get to frame 30 here. So it's still kind of showing the dark values. I don't think I want that. So what I'll do is I'm just going to adjust the multiply value for this index right here. Maybe I'll keep it to something like 0.4 or something, just for it to be more full, or 0.3. Let's see if we play this animation back now. You can see it start, and then by the time you get here, everything becomes full. So that's pretty much how the flickering light setup was made. But don't stop here. This is just the foundation. You can enhance your scene by adding more details, like beveling the edges of your room or including the fun object, maybe the most famous monkey in the world, yeah, Susan. Let's say you're trying to reveal an award for the best blender artist, the whole new version. You can take this setup further by animating the word lights or even using an HDRI to give your scene a more dynamic and realistic feel. The possibilities are endless. It's all up to your creativity. When you're ready to render your animation, simply choose a folder for your output, press Ctrl Alt 12 and you're good to go. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, drop a comment, and most importantly, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next one. Happy blending.